Hello folks, Wilful Ninja here bringing you another nerdy video. And again, unlike my video yesterday, this video will be nerdy. This is a review video for the anime Sword Kai from Netflix. I don't know if Netflix were the ones to produce it. All I know is that as far as I believe it, this is to be the case. When a Netflix original anime comes on, it's more in line with Netflix. What's it called? Produced the English dub. Sorry, the English dubbed, and I think that's the case because Seven Deadly Sins season 2 has been out in Japan for a while, whereas we're still waiting for it in the UK and whatnot. Now, also I noticed that it also means that animes that are labeled Netflix are generally only shown on to the West, like Europe and America, through Netflix, whereas in Japan, like the other producers, broadcast it, like, no, it's not like the other shows that Netflix have, which are live action. But anyway, I loved Sword Guy, and the reason why I loved it when I saw it, like, I watched the entire season, folks. I watched it entirely, so there will be some spoilers as I talk about it. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. The reason why I loved it was because it gave me so much. How should I put this? 2 weeks ago, or for the past few weeks, actually, I only finalized making the object. I think last week, but or 2 weeks ago, actually. In fact, I can't recall. It was 2 weeks. 2 weeks at most, I think, when I finalized making this object for my D&D games called the Berserker Blade. And again, I was messing around with the ideas of it. Me and my fellow, my co-DM for Friday Games. Now, when I say co-DM, he really only helps me unlock, like, with coming up with ideas. He doesn't actually DM. I bounce rulings off his head. I check with him to say, hey, how are things going? Basically, he's just because I'm running such a large group. He just helps me dealing with the stress, like, of being a DM. Now, but yeah, back to that. Me and him designed this item, and then Sword Guy came out, and I was like, oh, this is very cool. Like, I literally just made a D&D item that's like this. No, that's the premise I went into watching it, because I saw a few clips on YouTube about it. So I started watching it. It was vastly different than what I was expecting. I was expecting the guy's arm to have been transformed by this thing, and then it grows the blade. No. It's actually just a prosthetic that was forged from a cursed sword. I'm getting blanking on the name. Shiryu? Yeah, I think it was the name of the sword was Shiryu. There's two of them apparently in the show, but anyway, I loved the premise of it, like all these legendary weapons and all that. Like, there was a hammer, there was a bow, and they all have these really cool stories. I don't know how much of them are going purely on that, because if given the premise of some of these weapons, if their origins are 100% true, now the origins are always being told by another character. We're never getting like a proper flashback of the origin of the weapon, like, and why it's cursed. We're only ever being told from someone that, like, of how this tale was passed down. For example, Shiryu, you get told of the blacksmith who forged the weapons, and again, was this person a dragon? Half dragon? We don't know. But again, it would be cool if it was, because like some of the other origins are really cool. Like, there's fairies. I think there's also devils. We don't know, but it's a cool premise of the weapons taking over the person. It's really cool, and I love how, like, they pull the weapons out from their bodies. to when they want to fight. Now again, this is again, I like the premise, like, and there's something much bigger going on, and I can't wait for season 2 already. Now, it's we have a guy. I'm forgetting his name. Again, I finished it, watching it entirely yesterday. I should have done my video yesterday, but I didn't, and I'm trying to remember everything that I saw. Um, Guy's mother was one of the victims of Shiryu. Like, we first get introduced to Shiryu, a katana that is clearly cursed, and it's in this Japanese temple, and they're about to do a cleansing ritual to satiate the bloodlust of this weapon. Something goes wrong. One of the priests grabs the weapon and kills the entire temple. He then He goes to a local city and starts killing people. There we're introduced to a couple who one of them being pregnant, and they're all happy and all that. She can't wait. The husband is quickly cut down by Shiryu's possess. Now Shiryu is possessing this priest. It's not the priest's intention, which I'm curious about why. Because like the only way the cursed weapon can really possess anyone is if the person has some bloodlust in them, or they have the desire to kill someone in them. So I'm wondering what was this priest's intention, but it's not important. He's a throwaway character. So he kills the husband. He then goes to kill someone else. After he kills someone, he's in shock. Drops the katana. He ignored the pregnant woman. We don't know why yet. By some miracle, she's apparently alive. She picks up the katana and kills him. Now again, as I said, the weapon can possess someone who is filled with bloodlust and who has desire to kill. So she starts going on a killing rampage. And eventually, she brings herself to the forest. She gives birth to her child, and then hangs herself. So yeah, that's shocking. Now, blacksmith who specializes in forging katanas. So this is set in the modern age. So again, I do hear stories like, oh wow, there's still blacksmiths in Japan that still practice the art of forging katanas, and I love that personally. But yeah, this blacksmith is coming home. He's at the been hunting. The woman actually hung herself on a hill that overlooks his home. He finds the baby clutching Shiryu intently. He's like, huh. So he takes both the katana and thing. He can sense the power of Shiryu. So he wraps it up. He sheets it and keeps it locked away. He raises the boy to be a blacksmith. Now, this is where we're introduced also to. I feel like she's gonna be important, and I feel like, and I hope I ship them together. Like, it's like childhood friends. Like, even though he was adopted, he's treated more as a student or some, like, he doesn't see the blacksmith as his father. He calls him master, and he doesn't see his master's daughter as his sister. He's completely isolated mentally from them and emotionally. But there's something wrong with this child. There's something wrong with him. Everyone keeps saying it, except for the master. Like, the master believes there's something wrong with him. He believes that there's a deep connection between Shiryu and Guy. Now, his daughter has an infatuation with Guy. It's made very obvious very early on, and there's flashbacks where clearly Guy has some sort of feelings for her, despite the fact that he generally puts on a persona that he does not care about anyone. Like, there's so many flashbacks where there's one where he runs away, but then he comes back to protect her from a dog or something, and his arm gets badly bitten. So yeah, it's really interesting. Now again, the show often enough flashes to other weapons and other. There's a special term, chrysalis, a human who possesses a weapon but who's not yet fully possessed by the weapon. is called a chrysalis, and there's a special term for when the weapon just fully takes over the person. Boss begins with B. I can't remember, but yeah, we flash around to different weapons, and this organization is trying to collect the weapons to keep them out of human hands. And they use crystal. They actually have some chrysalists working for them. The chrysalists are put into a sleep. Once someone is bonded with a weapon and becomes a chrysalis, they seem to be a lot stronger and they seem to heal faster. But eventually, the weapon will take over them. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. It's not. So yeah, it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. So what this organization does is puts them in like a cryo sleep and only wakes them up when they need a chrysalis to collect a weapon, particularly from another chrysalis or from a person who's fully possessed by a weapon. Now, we see a main antagonist. There's two potential main antagonists, but at the end of we're introduced to this guy who's possessed by a Roman blade, Stulstein or something like that, or Felstein, and sorry about because my brother's in the background there. But yeah, he's quick. He's possessed by a Roman blade, and it's really cool. I love the powers this shows off. And he's not a chrysalis; he's fully possessed. And when you're fully possessed by your weapon, you actually get coated in armor. It's beyond cool, as well. But again, technically, you're also no longer existing. The weapon is controlling your body. So you cease to be you. You're essentially dead. Now, there's another guy at the end of the show. We don't know who he is. We just know that it's a again the term begins with a B, but he wields a sight, so it's a sight. I keep saying he wields a sight, but technically the sight is controlling the body. But he wants to create. He believes the era of man is over, and he wants to create a world where weapons who possess the bodies are on top. Like, so I don't know how he's going to appreciate that, because the weapons are. I don't know, for weapons to come into being, they need humans. So I don't know what. Technically, a weapon possessing a human could make another weapon, but it's the desire. Again, it's weird. Now we cut back to Guy. I'll explain now how he gets how he becomes a chrysalis. It's really cool. During this ceremony, Guy gets a lot of special treatment because of his connection to the Master, and because the Master believes that at some point Guy will one day wield Shiryu. Hold on, folks. It's not chill. Get off it. Stop it. Sorry about that, folks. My brother's trying to use one of his toys as a chair. But anyway, they're doing this cleansing ritual where they will cut themselves and let blood drip onto the weapon, hopefully to calm it down. Now, one of the wielders is pissed off. He's jealous of Guy because of all the special treatment. He also has a very because of his age. He seems to have also a very unnatural desire to be with the Master's daughter. So now she's the priestess. So she brings in Shiryu and they begin the ritual. Guy is about to feed the blade, and this guy, being angry, lifts up. No one's been allowed to look at Shiryu. No one's has been allowed to look at. The only this guy also caught Shiryu not only looking at Shiryu, but he drew Shiryu to look at the blade. And this guy hates the fact that he caught him doing it, and he complained to his sensei about it, who's the Master Blacksmith. And the Master Blacksmith was like, no, that blade has a special connection to Guy, and that's why he's allowed to look at it. Anyone else who looks at it is filled with the desire to use it, except for him. So this guy, being a jealous prick, lifts up his blindfold and looks at it, and immediately, once he does that, for some strange reason, now whoever looked at the weapon, the rule to keep it covered and to not let anyone look at it, actually came about. You find this out later on. The rule actually came into being because anyone who's looked at the weapon, a horrible fate has befallen them. As if the blade does not want anyone looking at it. So the girl gets possessed as soon as this guy looks at the weapon, and she goes to use it on him. Guy, hearing the commotion, quickly rips off his blindfold and goes to protect the guy. His arm getting chopped off. After this, the master blacksmith melts down Shiryu and fashions it into an arm. And he's talking to it as he does. He's like, Shiryu, it is clear to me that you've always been Guy's protector. So now serve as his right arm and protect him from this day forth. And so he fashions him into a... Now, I don't know how, because Shiryu wasn't exactly a black blade, but the arm, like the prosthetic arm that Guy now wields, is actually pure black. And it's really cool. So this is how he's Chrysalis, but the thing is though, he's not like a normal Chrysalis. Normally when a person becomes a Chrysalis, the weapon exists inside of them. Like the actual weapon will somehow hit them and fuse into their bodies, whereas his is external. It's not in him, so he maintains a lot of control, and it's strange. But after that, he starts hearing the words "kill, kill." The weapon itself is telling them to kill. This is when we never see his transformation, sadly, in a decent way. It's always the same clip of the weapon growing in certain parts. I would love to see the transformation in its entirety, outside of a fight. We see it changing back into an arm, but we never see it go from an arm into the blade fully. It's as I said, it's always cut away to maybe the shoulder and then the blade, but that's it. We never see from afar. We never see how we would look at it, how we would see it if we were looking at him as this weapon transformed. We never see that, and I would love to see it, because again, this makes me think. Again, this is where the idea of this is why I watched the show, because the still image is him with the arm, the arm blade. And I'm like, oh my god, please tell me this is like my Berserker blade. So I start watching it, and I was a bit disappointed that it's not. But don't get me wrong, it's still an amazing show. Guy eventually joins the organization that's looking for weapons. We don't just learn much about them. There's 3 beings. They refer to them. They don't refer to them as human, strangely enough. So again, I'm looking forward to learn more about the universe that this anime or manga possibly is set in. But it's absolutely amazing, folks. Not 8 out of 10. I'm a little hesitant to give it the 9. I'm tempted to give it the 9, but there's just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right, you know. Maybe if it had a longer runtime, maybe if I saw more of it, I would have given it that. But as it is now, I would have to say it's A. But yeah, it's amazing. I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of anime. And it also has got me thinking about other aspects of my Berserker blades, which are forged from the souls of devils who failed an archdevil of the 9 hells. So yeah, I'm thinking of the main concept of Berserker blade is going to stay the same. I just feel like I'm going to try to add a bit more variance to it. One thing I'm definitely adding, because I want these Berserker blades to be the main gift of humans that serve a devil well. Now, not necessarily a warlock, and not necessarily a paladin of Oath of Conquest. But these are also cursed objects, and they do. And again, they don't fade away and go back to hell like a normal devil. If a wielder of a Berserker blade dies on the material plane, the gauntlet that they wear is stuck on the material plane. the glove or whatever form the devil takes to try and tempt someone to wield it, um, it stays on the material plane. So it's not just in hell that you get these weapons, and you don't always find a fresh one. You don't always get a fresh one. Chances are, if you find one of my Hellblade, in my world, if you find a Hellblade, chances are it's been there for centuries. Like maybe at some point a paladin that was serving one of the archdevils, a Hell Knight as they're called, died on a material plane, and then his gauntlet has been been moved from one place to another by collectors or people that wore it, and then until it eventually found its way there, you know. Um, so yeah, like it's just random stuff, like, you know. And I didn't want, and because I didn't want them to always be like, oh yeah, this they're only meant for this class, so that way if I'll be like, because again, if a wizard was to pull on the Berserk Blade, wow, now they have a Buster Sword that they're not proficient in. No, so I decided. So what I'm doing is now I'm thinking of making so there's variant weapons of them, so that like that way I can keep it loose, and if depending on who picks it up, I'll be like, okay, here's the most appropriate form I'll give it. Now I'm not gonna let the players pick. I'm just gonna be picking the foremost. It's always gonna be a blade. It's when I say blade, I don't mean swords or daggers. It's always gonna be some sort of blade. Like it could be an axe or whatever, you know, or a scythe or katana or whatever. But it will never be a ranged weapon, or it will never be like a blunt weapon. You know what I mean? It will always be a weapon with some sort of tip or edge. Axes, spears, the like. So it'll never be a quarterstaff. So yeah, but this way it'll allow me to. So that way, if a wizard is unfortunate enough to put on the glove, then okay, here we go. You know. But yeah, it's just this show gave me that idea, and it's given me an idea of also creating like variant abilities that the Berserker Blades possess. I definitely have one that is very fire oriented, which hopefully I'll be able to get into my stream at some point. But because there's two weapons in particular that make me want to branch out into other types as well, and that was Fulgrim. I think it's called Fulgrim. I believe it was called. It's a weapon that's being possessed by this guy that works for the organization, and he eventually gets two weapons possessing him, which causes him to be. He has to be put into cold sleep indefinitely until they find a cure. That's what this organization does as well. They're trying to find a cure so that Chrysalis can go back to being human. But since he's now being possessed by two weapons, they have to put him in cold sleep because it's too dangerous for him to be out. But anyway, his first weapon was a sword, and it was a lightning sword. I'm guessing it has something to do with Vikings or whatever. But yeah, his one with the lightning definitely makes me think of that. And there's also one of the main antagonists. I don't know who's the main. But this guy, the Roman sword, like it had a very necrotic feel to it, like undead. So I'm thinking of creating multiple variants, not radiant, obviously. No, none of them will ever be radiant. Just because, like again, these are devils. Regardless of what type of devil or what type of layer of hell they were residing in, there's no way they would have become infused with radiant energy. Now again, I might make an angelic blades, which are also sent down to serve their paladins or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. But as of now, this show is amazing. It gave me so many ideas for my D&D games. But yeah, it's 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it. What else? I don't think there'll be any more reviews coming from me for a while. One of my friends has got me watching this movie series called Mythica. It's a bunch of movies that are mostly funded by Kickstarter, and he says it's he says it's as good as Lord of the Rings. I've seen the first one. Don't necessarily agree with him, but it's a solid 8 out of 10. Something that I would recommend, but it has potential. I just wish it had a bigger budget. But then again, budget does not always equal great movies. It's just that where this movie lacked, that it could have potentially been fixed with a better budget. Except for one aspect, which was the fighting. But I'll get into that when I talk about my Mythicus movie series review. I'll be uploading some Lewis Sport fights as soon as I get home. Then hopefully tomorrow I'll be back with some gaming videos. I need to get back into some of my gaming videos other than Sea of Thieves. But yeah, I'll definitely get back and I'll definitely do some videos tomorrow. I'll probably finish off the Ranger and the Rogue tomorrow, actually, now that I think about it. But this weekend, expect there to be lots of videos this weekend is basically all I can really say. By the way, this is Wilfred Ninja signing out. May the Force be with you, and remember, we're all for initiative.